Today, we're going to talk about valuing a PI practice and what is different about valuing a PI practice. So let's just start. What are the main differences, Peter?
Well, let's just remind our audience, PI practice refers to personal injury work.
Of course.
And so, so let me answer the first question with a question back to you, Stan. So what do you think are some of the main differences between a personal injury practice and other types of legal practices?
Well, the main difference is the WIP, the work in progress. I think we understand that the work in progress for a personal injury practice can be significant, can be quite a lot of money. So whereas the work in progress for general practices is kept under control, let's say, at a reasonable level. So matters are invoiced more regularly and completed more regularly. Yeah, that would be the main difference, I think.
I agree with that. So let's give an actual example. So let's say we have two practices doing $1 million of turnover each. A general practice doing $1 million of turnover might have 1 month's worth of work in progress because they're billing monthly, say. And a personal injury practice doing $1 million of turnover, they can have up to $1, $2, or $3 million even of work in progress. So that really creates an issue of, well, how do you value these two different types of law firms, for example, one with maybe $100,000 worth of work in progress and another with maybe $2 million worth of work in progress. So this is the key issue that we come across when we're selling and valuing personal injury law firms. And there's two answers to that question which I'll offer. One answer is, well, the difference, how do you value them? Is there a difference? The first answer is no, there is no difference. And the reason I can answer the question in that way is because it doesn't matter what type of business you have, whether it's a personal injury practice, a general law firm, or a plumbing business or a manufacturing business or any business, the valuation principles are all the same. The theory of valuation does not change. So that's answering it in one way. Now, from a practical point of view, how do we bring in the value of the work in progress in a personal injury practice? So the standard approach from a valuation point of view would be to approach it as any other valuation. So you try to derive the profit, what the profit is of the personal injury practice, and then you apply a multiple. And that multiple comes from the marketplace, what firms are selling for. And then you come up with a value. Let's just say, for example, the value is, let's say $500,000. And then, so we've got this value of a personal injury law firm, according to the theoretical approach, is $500,000, but it has work in progress of about $2 million. So what does a buyer do? What does a vendor do? How do they approach this problem of justifying the sale of a personal injury practice for $500,000 when the value of its assets is actually $2 million? So have you come across that issue, Stan?
Yeah, I have. I think that's really at the crux of our challenge. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So there are so many different approaches to this, but just sticking to the most common sense approach, if we're selling the firm as a going concern, which is our normal situation, because people are coming to us with their firms, they're successful, they're making a profit, and they want us to sell it as a going concern, then what we do is we look at the firm and we say, well, how much of that work in progress is actually necessary to continue generating that profit each year of whatever that profit is in the firm. And we might find that of the $2 million work in progress, that actually 3/4 of that work in progress is actually necessary for the firm to continue generating profit at its previous level.
Mm-hmm.
So the balance that's, say, not necessary, you could describe that as a surplus asset, and that can be value on top of the value of the business value. Surplus value, business value plus surplus assets is the total business value. So Stan, how's that so far? Does
Yeah,
that
well, that
help?
sounds good. So I'm just wondering how we account for the 3/4 of the WIP. Is that paid to the vendor once it's recovered? Is that sort of what you're getting to?
Well, Stan, you've opened another can of worms there, I must
Right.
say, because now you're asking about how does a buyer actually buy a firm like this, and what happens to the work in progress? Because as you know, the standard approach with work in progress is that it's kept by the vendor, and it's collected by the purchaser and paid to the vendor when it's recovered. So, but it's different. If we have to include work in progress in a personal injury law firm, then what we're saying is that there's no automatic assumption that the vendor is going to recover the work in progress.
Right. So a PI practice is different in that respect. There's no
Exactly.
guarantee that that work in progress is going to be recovered.
That's right.
Right.
So we have to look at what's a fair value as for the personal injury firm as a going concern. We have to assess what might be surplus, work in progress. And then there's a whole bunch of other issues about what stage matters are at. Have they been settled but simply waiting for payment? Because usually that's the status of matters. They're either in progress, or they've settled, or they're paid and closed. So selling a personal injury practice requires us to address these issues of work in progress. And then, of course, the issues about, does the firm actually do time recording? What is the actual value of the work in progress? And we're experienced with all of these issues, due diligence, and very importantly, if I didn't mention this issue, it would be not right, and that is the tax aspects. So,
Yeah.
Stan, all I can say is it's taken us a lot of years and experience to really get to the bottom and try to understand a practical, efficient, fair approach to selling personal injury practices.
Thanks, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.